guys know, I did not set up this chair for Mickey. I set it up for me, and now he's in it. By the way, this is a tall camping chair that I got to replace the stool that I bought from Target. There was nothing wrong with the stool, but this can be folded up and put out of the way. The stool was falling over and stuff, so I just went ahead and donated it. And I replaced it with this tall camping chair because it still allows me to sit at the table when I want to sit at it. But apparently, you know, if you have a cat, everything belongs to them and not you. So he's in the chair and I'm sitting on the refrigerator. Of course, I know my place here. I hope everybody is preparing to have a lovely holiday. I'm calling up the chat so I can actually see the chat, which I can't right now. So yeah, give me a second. I'm almost there. Give me a second. I cannot see the chat, so whatever's happening in the chat, I can't read it. Ooh, crap! Now I can. I'm seeing an ad. All right, hello to everybody. I'm guessing everybody can hear me because I'm seeing like, hi Mickey, hello Dawn and everybody. Debbie, thank you for the Merry Christmas. So hello to everyone. Sorry, that's a motorcycle. A very loud motorcycle going by. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It was like, vroom. I'm pretty sure Mickey heard it. Look at his little ears. Look at his little ears doing things. Yes. I set up this chair for me, Mickey. This is where Dawn was supposed to sit. He's like, are you kidding? Of course you set it up for me. This is the most comfortable seat. Woo! Only me asks, hi Dawn, when do you go to Quartzsite? I will start heading to Arizona in early January, but I'm not going anywhere before then. The Red Precarian, thank you for the $5 super chat for little Mickey boy, who's now just curled up in a ball going to sleep in my chair. My chair. Yes, my chair. Maybe I shouldn't have yelled. Now I feel bad. I'm sorry, Mickey. I didn't mean to yell. Are we still friends, Mickey? Huh? Oh my gosh, she's leaving the chair because I yelled. I'm sorry, Mickey. I didn't mean to yell. This is what happens. I'm like, it's my chair. Now I'm like, but buddy, I love you. Don't leave me. Oh, he's a sweet cat. Now I get the chair. And he is on the fridge. Or you know what? You know what time it is? You know why he moved? I know why it is. He wants dinner. He's like, you know what time it is, human? I just looked at my watch. Yep, he's looking at me like, yeah, you idiot. That's why I got up. Here you go. I'm still gonna steal the chair now that he's not in it. Let me see if I can face this up a little bit better. So what's going on with everybody for the holidays? Are you traveling? Are you staying where you are? Have you done your Christmas shopping? Let me know what's going on with you for the holidays while I catch up on the chat. I spent too much time talking to Mickey about my chair that I've now reclaimed. Michelle says, yes, I heard the motorcycle. Veronica says, yay, I made another live. I think it's only the second one I've been able to catch. Happy holidays, Dawn and Mickey the Great. I'm sure he's aware he's Mickey the Great. Yeah, he's eating. He was like, duh, that's why I'm getting up. I need food. Human. Idiot human. Manuel Esther says, would you ever get a few little goldfish in a plexiglass picture frame that lights up and hangs on the wall? Would I actively buy it? No. And I'd worry about something like that falling, because the thing is, like, anything that's mounted, I have to think, if it falls, would it hurt it too much to break? I have this wind chime right here, for example, and it's held up pretty well. It used to belong to my grandmother, and then after my grandmother passed away, my mom held on to it. And after my mom passed away, I held on to it, and it did crack because it fell off the fridge, even though it's a magnet, like it fell. And so it has a couple of things that's cracked off of it, and I still keep holding on to it. So anything like that where it'd have to be like mounted on the wall, I'd just be worried about it like falling and breaking while I'm driving and stuff like that. I'm a loss. Thank you for the adorable super sticker and the $20 super chat. Ziggy, thank you for the $9 super chat of... Yeah, thank you for the $9 super chat. Dave Allison says, Mickey, ruler of the box truck. I know this was all when he was taking over my chair, which he's not in anymore. Kelly B says, Mickey says, Mom, we share everything. I even let you sleep in my bed. Tracy McMurray was like, feed me, food machine. All these things are true. Life with cats. Rob, what's up? I see you in the chat. Happy holidays to you as well. Liz Carter, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, hi, Dawn. I'd love to chat with you about a possible job in the next 1 to 2 months. Merry Christmas. Hit me up over email. And be very specific in the subject line. Corey Bowe says, I've been in 8 hours from home at a children's hospital since July 5th. Is there a child in the children's hospital? We will still be here for Christmas. Well, I hope everything is okay. I'm sad to see that, you know, the words hospital ever. So I hope everything's okay with your family. Veronica G says, Mickey has you well trained. Yeah, he does. He's like, if I stare at you long enough, you'll figure out what I want. Yeah. Thomas Thrift says, any suggestions for a place to stay at Quartzsite? The only time I went to Arizona was for RTR 2 years ago, and at that point you could camp at site. So I'm going to be finding some place to park on my own for the first time. Now the thing is, like, you can basically throw a rock and find BLM land, so I'm not too worried about it. But when I went to RTR, it was the last one where everybody camped on site at RTR. You didn't have to go out and like find your own campsite and then come to the site to participate. So yeah, I was the last RTR I was physically at was the last one that was in that classic format. Freedom Dove, thank you for answering Thomas Thrift about hotels and Quartzsite. Julianne says, "Hi, Dawn. How are you? Merry Christmases." I am fine, except right now my throat is acting up, so I'm gonna take my volume down. I tend to get loud sometimes, which is funny. But I can feel my throat getting weird all of a sudden, so I'm gonna monitor that while I try to read through the live stream. Robbie says that Robert says I was hoping to make it to the Pride meetup, but it's not looking like I can make it. Oh, I'm so sorry. The Red Precarian says I got 90% of my Christmas shopping done, and I'm just staying put. I moved my aging and ailing parents in with me, but honestly, they are getting to the point where I can no longer care for them to be. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I'm glad you're all together for the holidays and everything. Corey Bose said my granddaughter had open heart surgery, then had some complications. She finally got a word I'm not going to try to say. She's now 8 months old. Oh, I'm so sorry. It is so hard to see a baby that young go through surgery. Sarah, thank you for answering the question about the Super 8 near Quartzsite. Because I did not know about that. Really, Corey, though, man, I hope. That's heavy, man. Well, I'm glad your family can be together at the children's hospital. I'm sad to hear it. Kelly B says Brian from Adventure Van is going to have a meetup and was trying to find a spot for a group. I'd like to see his box truck in person. He did a really cool job on his box truck, so I really hope I run into him when I get to RTR, because I'd love to meet him in person and see his box truck, because it just looks pretty cool. And it was just kind of weird that we both ended up getting our box trucks like at the same time. It was like very similar situations. And it was just weird, but I'd love to see his box truck in person because it looks really cool on videos at least. Yeah. Manuel Esther asks, do you have any special dinner on Christmas or Christmas Eve? Probably not. I'm gonna be honest, I might. Two things might happen. Either one, there's a friend of mine that I'm gonna be hanging with. I've had friend Christmases before. Or I'm just gonna be hanging out in the box truck and it's just gonna be another day. And I don't take that as a reason to be sad. Like, I had incredible Christmases as a kid. When I was a little kid, I started Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. I pulled out all the Christmas music. I started playing it. I was obsessed with Christmas when I was little, and I had really great Christmases, and it wasn't even just about getting the gifts. It was just my favoriteest, bestest holiday. And so it's like, I have really good Christmas memories. But honestly, like, you know, since my mom's been gone, it's been a struggle to really make it like a special day. It's just kind of a day that comes and goes, and it's not really bad. It just is what it is. And like, I don't have any particular like issues with it. It's a day. It comes, it goes. What I hate right now, though, is I can't go into a store and it's not crowded. It used to be on the middle of the day on Wednesday, if you needed to go buy some groceries, it was going to be pretty empty in the store. And that's not going to be true for the rest of this week. So the good thing about, you know, sort of the die out after Christmas is I'll be able to go to the store in the middle of the day on a Wednesday and it's not crowded. Because right now everywhere is crowded. I'm like, this is not normal for middle of the day. So yeah, where was I? Liz Carter, bye-bye. I'm glad you got a chance to pop on. I've like lost the whole chat. Where was I? Oh, the special dinner question. Sorry, it's just really easy to lose the chat. Corey Bose, I will be praying for little baby Vivian. And you know that you guys can still just feel blessed and together on Christmas, even going through this situation right now. I'm happy to see prayers for baby Vivian in the chat. Demalia J says, "Hey, Dawn from chilly Oxon Hill, Maryland. How you doing?" Oops. Julian says, "Dawn, I hope you have access to internet at the RTR to release video for us while you were there. I love to see what's happening there while nomads I follow are there." It'll be interesting to see what the internet situation is, especially because, like, you know, it's an event that's always, you know, participated in by a lot of people who have their own channels, and how easy or hard that is to do can vary by situation. So it'll be an experiment. We will see. Kelly B says, I think with people working from home, I see more people in the store during the middle of the day. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. I think the holidays are always like this. Especially like this week, because people may have like taken off work. I know for my mom, one thing she used to do, because she had to pick me up after work, is she would take her lunch break to like go buy stuff. And she only told me this obviously once I was an adult. And then she could hide it in the car and stuff. So if there was something she was trying to get and she couldn't find it and she got like a lead on it, she would like leave in the middle of the day. Like she would take her lunch break to go run to the store and like get stuff on her list and stuff like that, because right after work she had to come get me because she was a single mom. You know, I also think like it isn't just people working from home. I think it's just the holidays. It's that last week and stuff, and like some people, you know, they take off a few days before the holiday and stuff like that. I don't care. I'm waiting for the point where this is over and I can go grab 4 things from the grocery store without being in a line. I'll be happy for that. Especially 4 things that have nothing to do with Christmas. This morning I bought provolone cheese, spinach, and like 2 other things. 2 other dumb things that had nothing to do with the holidays. And the store, I had to stand in a line. It wasn't a bad line, but usually in the middle of the day on Wednesday, like I can walk right up to a cashier and leave the store. Terry Newell says, "Hello from Wisconsin. It's 13 degrees here. Brr." External influences says, "Merry Christmas, Dawn and Mickey." In the chat, many prayers sent to everyone and their loved ones. Jesus is the reason. Love and light, Kelly Sandra. Thank you so much for that message. Kiko J says, "Hey Dawn, have a safe holiday." Thank you so much, you too. The Red Precarian says, "I don't mean to be a drag or a downer, but I never had good Christmases. Was placed in foster care by the time I was 13. By 20, I was in the military. Then all of my jobs have had me work on Christmas." I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, not to turn the tide, but I think that the reason I had good Christmases is because my mom never had them. And so, like, she was obsessed with me having these wonderful holidays because she was a foster child. And up until when she was 14, that's actually when she went to go live with my grandmother. But she was 14 then. So like all of her childhood, like Christmases, like sucked. People would get their real real kids gifts and not get her gifts. She was shuffled around from home to home through all of her childhood, and her whole thing was having a child that she could dote on and give those things that were never given to her. So I appreciate the blessing of my mother, because she never had a lot of money, but she was always determined I was going to have all the things she didn't have, and whatever she had to do that, even if that meant like wearing the same clothes for like 3 years straight, like that's what she did. And like as an adult, I really appreciate how dedicated she was to that. And so like I appreciate it. Like I know, like, not everybody gets to grow up with good Christmases, and I feel like I had wonderful ones, and it was more about like the magic and imagination of it. She let me believe in Santa Claus way longer than any child should ever believe in Santa Claus. I was still in denial about Santa Claus at 12 years old, and I knew better. That's how committed I was to well, yeah, I'm not even gonna get on that subject. um Samantha Olmstead, thank you for the $20 super chat and the cute little happy holidays with the heart, the tree, and a little kitty cat. Mickey's in his bed now because, like, I'm sitting on his chair, so he's gone to his bed. He's like, fine, you want the chair, I'm taking the bed now that he's had his dinner. Freedom Dove also concurs with it just being another day. Earl Blackman says, where did you get the lights on the wall? So those lights are actually part of the box truck. These are decorative. These are little Christmas lights I got as extra, but the ones that are moving up on the wall have been there for months. I have like, oh shoot, I keep forgetting which. I have a little remote for them. So yeah. Those are always there. I just don't always use them, and because it's Christmas, I'm letting them dance, but they can just be a steady light that I have in the box truck, and sometimes I'll put them on at night so I can kind of see without having like my big light on right there. So those have been up there, and also they're actually string lights that I string through a plastic track that I traced around the whole top of the box truck. Katie in New Hampshire, I'm guessing that NH is that's what that is. I don't know. Katie in NH. I never asked before, I don't think. Maybe I haven't, I've just forgotten. Says, before I retired, I would usually take off 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's. Lots of people roaming around here in NH, New Hampshire during the holidays. Yeah. And I know people who have jobs where they can do that, and so like they're not crazy. Sometimes they'll take off sometime before Christmas and through after January 1st. It gives them more travel time. They don't have to travel at like the last minute. So there's a lot of reasons people are in the store right now. Julie says, I saw your video today about a bus versus a box truck. I wondered if you were scouting the town for stealth places to sleep while riding in the shuttle bus on the way to the job. Most of the time, I always have my eyes open. But I'll be honest. After work that day, I went to the closest Home Depot, and I do this all the time, and I'll be like, not always Home Depot. Sometimes it's some other place, some other shopping mall, and I really have to take a look at it to see how private the lot looks, or stuff like that. But I just randomly said, a lot of times, because this is a box truck, I am never bothered at Home Depot. Like, I've slept at Home Depots all across the country, and I think because at night, like, people flipped out about those stickers I put on the back of my box truck. Nobody's freaking reading those at night. Nobody's up, like, looking. When people kind of see, like, a box truck sitting at some distance in, like, a hardware store parking lot, a lot of times they just leave it alone. And as long as it doesn't stay there, if I'm just there for the night to sleep, I usually get away with it. And Home Depot is one of my staples. And I think it's unique to this box truck that most of the time I get away with it, depending on which angle I park and what spot I find. That's why I don't think like there's universal rules. Like what works because this is a box truck works because this is a box truck in some cases. What worked when I was in the minivan, like the things I got away with when I was in a minivan, were because I was in a minivan. So yeah, a lot of times, like, there's a couple of staples that I look for where I don't have to think too hard. So got off of work, I look for the closest Home Depot, and I just picked a spot where it was just kind of random. Like if anybody was just casually walking by, they just saw a box truck in the parking lot. And it was fine until morning. And then there was a couple of like eating places around there as well. So it wasn't even like an entirely private lot. It was kind of strip mall-y. So yeah, it's like depending on the vehicle, there's a certain thing I'm looking for. And if I find that thing, I'm like, yeah, I think I can get away with this. And most of the time I do. Like, since I've been back in California, I've not had a knock. And I've been doing like some random sleeping, especially after working in Santa Clara, because I've not gone back up to Berkeley. So I've just been creeping upwards, a few hours every day, because I do want to get back to Berkeley because I have some mail to pick up, but I'm in no rush. And that's sort of the good thing about living in the box truck. It's like, yeah, I had to make a long drive down to Santa Clara, but I didn't have to come back within a day or that night or whatever. So yeah, that's not really the answer to the question. But a lot of times when I am driving, like when I'm in an area, when I know I'm going to sleep in that area that night, I am just keeping my eyes open. And sometimes I'll make a mental note of like, oh, okay, there's a park over there. Like, it's a little city park. I probably could get away with it for a night or stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a lot of keeping my eyes open and always looking, without actively looking. At this point, I don't tend to do a lot of like driving around at night praying I find somewhere to sleep. I've usually figured it out way before then. Where was I? I love how I keep losing things. That's the one I was talking about. I was talking about the bus versus box truck thing. Terry Newell, thank you for the $20 super chat and the Merry Christmas greeting. Samantha Olmstead, thank you for the $20 super chat and the happy holidays. I think I might have already done that because I am missing stuff. Double thank yous are wonderful. I'm not going to worry about it. FDM215 said, my family didn't have much money when I was a kid. We were very thankful for everything we got. That's for sure. I grew up in the 70s, 80s. I grew up in the 80s. Yeah, I was born in 79, so, my whole childhood was the 80s. And I was born the last 3 months of the 70s. Like, October of 79 and, like, mid-October. So, like, I was alive for about 2.5 months of the 70s, and then I lived my childhood through the 80s and my teenagehood through the 90s. I'm really good at losing my place, ain't I, guys? Kelly B says, we always had a hugely stressful day on holidays growing up, so I purposely keep it low-key and small. Like, for Christmas, my mom really liked us being home. Like, I know some people, like, go and do family gatherings, but for us, it was Thanksgiving was family gathering, Christmas was for us. And so it was a special dinner my mom cooked just for us, as a little family of 2 and the dog, because I had dogs growing up. So it's usually me, mom, and the dog was included, okay? So yeah, it was relatively small, but it was just like always special, and I always loved like the magic of the holiday when I was a kid. Chris Elm was like, "Oh no, you didn't believe in Santa at 12. I'm the youngest of three, and I knew it before I was 6 for sure." Well, here's the thing, Chris. I didn't want to know. Like, I liked magic. I liked the idea of this magic. I wasn't like, my cousins were always trying to disprove it, and for me, the last thing I wanted to do was lose magic. Like, magic was like precious to me, and I think that's why now I love, like, science fiction and fantasy. Like, the world has enough harsh realities. There was no joy in losing Santa Claus. It was sad. There, like, I think for some people, like, look how smart I am. I figured it out. Like, if I really wanted to, but there was joy in that faith, in that belief, you know? And so why would I want to take that away from myself, you know? So yeah, that's what it came down to. I wanted to believe in magic in the world and magic in the universe, and like this magical being that was so kind that he traveled the world once a year to like reward people for being good people. Like, that seemed like a wonderful thing for me, and like, there was no way, you know, my mom wanted anybody to take that like faith and belief from me, you know. And when I was ready, it was more like I gave it up. Yeah, yeah, you know. But at that point, I was like a teenager, and my mom had started taking foster children, and so like I got to create that magic for other children, especially children who like hadn't had a lot of magic in their lives, and that was fun. So it wasn't like, oh, I was so stupid. It was just like, it wasn't something I wanted to give up. I like the magic, I like the belief, and I think that's like, you know, sort of an early idea of faith as a kid. It's like, this is a beautiful thing, and I believe in it because I want to believe beautiful things exist in the world, if that makes any sense. So yeah. The Red Precarian says, by the way, Dawn, I really admire your work in the box van. It looks good. Thank you so much. FDM215 says, I don't know if I should say 215 or 215 or if it even matters. Years ago, I used to do USPS Secret Santa with friends. It was really heartwarming to be able to help out a few families who were going through a tough time. That is beautiful. FDM215, going back to me talking about parking at Home Depot a lot. Like, Home Depot is like my home away from home across the country. But says, that makes sense. Your vehicle is camouflaged depending on surroundings. Yes. And there have been Home Depots that I've pulled into and I said, I don't think I'm going to get away with it here, and I left. But for the most part, you know, it's been like a solid thing. I don't sleep at Home Depot every night, but like, if I'm like, I need to find somewhere to sleep, sometimes I'll just try the closest Home Depot. And it has worked a lot. A last name, thank you for the $20 super chat, even though it says Merry Christmas, Mickey. Mickey's up there. Sharon Mills says, bummer, I have to run. I have learned so much about you, Dawn. It just makes me love you more. You're a good girl. Peace be with you. Peace be with you as well, Sharon Mills. Alberta and Stella, thank you for joining the channel as a contributor. By the way, January 1st, if anybody who has signed up as a producer or contributor recently, there will be a new scroll coming out for the new year. I probably won't get to editing. That scroll of names is a lot to edit. It's good. I don't mind doing it, like, because like people are contributing to the channel and I want to thank them, but it's a lot to edit. So there will be a fresh scroll reflecting the most current names by the new year. But until the end of the month, the old scroll will probably run. Just to say it. Alberta and Stella says, hey, both our dogs get a full Christmas dinner short of stuffing. So when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, not when I was a kid, when I was a kid, I had this awesome dog named Sparky, who was a half German Shepherd and half question mark. that was Sparky's background. But when I was a teenager, we had this tiny little Yorkie named Lady. And we thought she was so tiny. There was no way, like, she would, like, do a bunch of stuff because, like, a dog that tiny, you just can't do it. You're so tiny. You can't do things. And my mom was, they're throwing away the plates for Christmas dinner. And there was a turkey bone on there. And that turkey bone hit the floor. And Lady grabbed that turkey bone. She was like, yes, a bone. And she darted under the couch. And we were worried. And she proved to us she was still a dog. She was like, yeah, maybe a tiny dog, but I'm still a dog. Because by the time we got a hold of that bone, wasn't darn near anything left. And luckily, we were worried about choking, but it was a turkey bone and not a chicken bone. And usually the chicken bones are the ones that are dangerous because they break off really tiny. And they can cut, like, the dog's throat. But turkey bones tend to be a little bit more better. But man, by the time we found that thing, it was hardly anything left. Because she went under that couch and she was not coming out. She's like, this is my Christmas treat. And I am taking it. She was so tiny. It was funny. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I went to a store. Oh, dogs. We were talking about dogs. Penn in Kentucky says, I wrapped a volleyball for my brother's dog. He goes through them like crazy. That's adorable. I love it. Julian says, Dawn, did you ever save up enough for painting the exterior of your truck? Is that project coming up next for you? I actually have the paint. It's been raining, so it's like I need enough dry to actually do anything on the outside of the truck, but I actually have the paint. It is sitting in a bag on the floor. So I got it. Yeah. When I'll be able to paint it depends on the weather. Ah! Don't do that. Don't do that. I accidentally hit a thingy. What was I? Where was I? Frugal Minimalist says, I believed in Santa until I was 12 years old. One of my mom's friends told me when I was 2. I never liked her anymore. Yeah, how dare you ruin childhood? Like, it'll come. Just let us have our childhood. You know, the rough adult life will come. The Red Picarian says, my kids are all grown up, but they had the magical Christmas. I did the same as your mom did for you, so I have great Christmas memories with my kids. Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, like, some people are like, you know, don't see it that way. Some people see it as wrong. Some see it as an antiquated thing. But I think it's just fun. It's like the elf on the shelf thing that's popular now. Honestly, didn't realize how much of a thing this was for kids in the last, like, I don't know how long ago elf on the shelf became a thing. But it's just a fun thing. You know, it's like this thing that you do at a certain point of the year, and it's fun. You know, to have, like, the elf in the shelf thing, to use it for an example, is that you buy this elf and you name it with your kids, and the kid doesn't see it move, but it's a new place. It's just fun, you know. And so many people will, you know, some people don't get that, and you only get to have that sort of time at a specific point in your life. So I would never want to take that away from any kid under some idea like you need to break that fantasy. Yeah. The Muse says, Dawn, you are an amazing spiritual human being. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for listening. I don't know why people like to hear me talk. I feel like I just ramble and ramble and ramble. You guys keep coming to hang out with me, which is great. Um, Freedom Dove and FDM215, I'm laughing at your comments. This is in response to the little dog stealing the bone. Freedom Dove is like, this is my bone, LOL. And FDM215 is like, Freedom Dove, yes, you know that Pooch was thinking score. Yes, that's what she was thinking. She was like, score! Take it. Like, you're not getting this back. This is mine. Oh my gosh. Lady was a trip. I love that little dog. Penn in Kentucky says, let's not get started on the weather. It's been so crazy this year. Plus, it's going to be 70 degrees on Christmas. Very warm Christmas there. Plus, it's going to be... I read that part already. I'm sorry. We'll be having a white Easter if we don't blow away first. Woo, that's... that's definitely not typical way the weather goes. At least not what they tell us on all the holiday programming. Oh my gosh, FDM215 says, my friends said they now regret starting the ELF because as their kids get older, they talk to friends and compare experiences. LOL, competitive elfing. So, I'm before the generation of Elf on the Shelf, and like, this year is when I realized how big of a thing it's been for kids in like the last couple of generations, because like, I didn't even know how hardcore this was a thing. I found out people would like post about it on like Instagram and TikTok and all the social medias, and I did not know it was that big of a thing and that big of a like tradition in the last couple of years. So yeah, I can imagine like as you get older, it was like, yeah, my mom did this, my dad did this, they thought this was like impressive. Like I can totally see kids like who or even adults who like, you know, are very young adults like having had that experience, and now they're old enough to sort of reflect on it with other like young people or teenagers or adults who had the same experience. That would actually be kind of funny. Freedom Dove, I feel the same. Freedom Dove says, my favorite part of Christmas was sitting in the living room at night and watching the lights on the tree sparkle and glow. It was very peaceful. Yeah, I loved putting the tree up and like, you know, the lights on the tree. Like, I was the person who like couldn't wait to run home every night and like plug in the tree and see it come on. And then like, because we always put the tree, or well, when we had a house, we didn't always have a house. When we had a house where we could do it, we always put the tree right near the window and had it like, so it had, you could see it from the street. So I loved like plugging in the tree and then running outside so that I could see what it looked like from the outside. Every day I would do this like constant, not every day, but every day I could get away with it. It was like, it was always fun to also see it from the outside. So yeah. I'm seeing a bunch of stuff in the comments where I'm like, I think I missed something. Because, like, Julian says, Dawn, have you ever tried to stay overnight in a church parking lot? I hear some are Nomad friendly. I have not. Number one, I usually don't go to, like, group parking lot situations. And, like, a church is just such private property. It's one of those places I would never go into without permission, even if they would look the other way, because I feel like a church is one of those places where I would want to ask first, and it's just a private property type thing. So yeah, I've never tried a church because of it. Yeah, I just would feel weird about it without permission. It just has to do with the private property thing and the fact that it's a place people go to worship. Even though under that theory, it's also the people who should be the most kind, and the most willing. But it's just I've never randomly when I even see a church with a big parking lot, because honestly, around here, that's not that common. It's not really that common for me to be anywhere near a church that has like a decent amount of parking. Like a lot of them are little things around here, and you park on the street where you go. They don't even have parking lots. But even if I was driving past a church, I wouldn't think, oh, I can park here, unless like there was some active situation where I asked ahead of time. Yeah. Do, do, do. Penn in Kentucky says, "Yeah, I never started the elf thing. Love the move elf though. LOL." FDM215 says, "Same. I only heard about the elf thing about 10 years ago." Wait, are we talking about Elf on the Shelf or the movie Elf? Both of which I didn't realize how big they were until the last couple of years, by the way. Because I was talking about the Elf on the Shelf. The Morris family says, "We do the Elf on the Shelf every day. It's fun for us and the kids." Alberta and Stella says, "I didn't have much of a Christmas growing up in care, but we made up for it with our son." So kind of like the same situation with me and my mom. Because like she hadn't really gotten to experience, and that, making that special for me was a big thing. Van Vita Travels, everybody loves you. Welcome to the chat. Jose Zaya says, "How is your California living?" It's fine. It's a familiar area. I've gotten to see some people. As we've been getting closer to Christmas, I felt weird about bothering people because I'm like, oh, people have their people. And it's the holidays. But, like, it's been cool to come back, see some people. My thing is, like, let's meet for a cup of tea, coffee. Usually I get tea, though. Just hang out and chat, and, then I kind of go off and do my thing. Tina's the Outsider said, "Dawn, are you going to any of the van life meetups in March and February in Seattle?" I know nothing about these meetups. I don't know anything about any meetup in Seattle. Lane Cloud Adventure said, "Oh, wow, Van Vita ended her live and told everyone to come check you out." Oh, that's sweet. Thank you so much. Vanquish said, "The church might invite you in, but at nighttime I want to be in my bed." I don't want to go in. That's another thing that always makes me nervous. Here's the thing. I like sleeping in my bed. Period. I like sleeping in my bed, in my house, in my box truck. Period. And another thing that would make me nervous about the church is they would feel like there was some reason to rescue me from my house, even if I directly had a conversation with them. And I'm like, no, I'm fine in my house. I just need to sleep for the night, and I'll move on in the morning. So any situation like that, where it seems like I'm in a situation I need to be rescued from, makes me hesitant to step into. Because it's like, no, I don't want to go inside. I want to sleep. I have a comfortable house and a bed, and I want to be in that. That's where I want to be. Jose asks, "Have you tried a hospital parking lot?" Yes. It's not anything I actively seek, but if I see a hospital parking lot where I'm like, they probably don't care, and it's not a paid lot. That's the thing, is like, I've also seen a lot of hospital parking lots where like you have to go past security, or like you have to pay the park there, or the parking's very specific. If there's too many signs and it looks like they're watching too closely, no. If it's just a big lot where you can tell a lot of people park who are visiting the hospital, yes. But it's not something I actively seek or look for. But I have done it like twice, and it was because like the way the lot looked, I was like, I think this will be fine, and it was. Freedom Dove actually says some churches won't allow you. Unfortunately, it seems weird for them to deny someone to park overnight. And at the end of the day, a church is private property. I wouldn't go park at a church without permission, the same reason I wouldn't go to any other business and park without permission. Now, you would assume since it's a church and they're a religious institution and all of that, but that may not be true. You know, they could be jerks. Just because they're a church doesn't mean they're not jerks. Vanquish concurred. Many hospitals I've seen have paid parking. Exactly. Paid parking, restricted parking, or like permit parking. Frugal Minimalist says, I prepared Christmas brunch for my son the past 40 years. We look at movies together on Christmas Eve. He always chooses movies that he knows I will enjoy. He is 42, no wife, no kids. I mean, that sounds like a great Christmas Eve tradition. Deborah on the go. Thanks for getting here. Vanquish says hospital parking, good chances for sirens all night. I mean, you would think so, but honestly, like, I mean, I guess depending on where you are, like, most, like, when I've gone even to the hospital, like an actual ambulance, even when I've gone to the emergency room, was kind of rare. Like, mostly it was people who had, like, a terrible thing happen to them that drove themselves to the hospital. And especially now, people know how much those ambulances cost. If they can, like, either limp themselves there or, like, get there in their own car or their friend's car, I usually get there that way. Like, the one time I had to go to the emergency room a couple times, and I don't even remember hearing sirens that much, because a lot of people take themselves to the hospital because the ambulances are so darn expensive. And also, it can't be any louder than a truck stop. Have you slept at a truck stop at night? Like, I'm used to doing it, so it doesn't bother me. But, like, all night it's like, rah, rah, rah. Or you hear, like, the trucks backing up. Like, there's all kinds of sounds in a truck stop at night. The 2 times I stayed in a hospital parking lot, like, it was relatively quiet. It was relatively freaking quiet. Van Vita, I'm gonna look you up as soon as I get out of this live chat. Anybody who's getting this much love is good people. So I'm I'm gonna look you up as soon as this live chat ends. Freedom Dove, thanks for sending out the thank you to everyone who came here from Paula's channel. Actually, let me see if I can do this real quick. God darn it, YouTube! Stop messing things up. Alright, Van Vita, I just subscribed to you. I'm going to check out some of your videos tomorrow. Anybody who's getting this much love must be a cool people. Where was I in the chat? Penny, Kentucky says, a church here was allowing overnight parking, but then homeless started sleeping on the steps. I saw that they've posted signs prohibiting staying. Man, that's a tough situation, though. Like, you know, it really is just a tough situation. Glorious Life on Wheels, what's up? You probably already been in the chat, and I've just been, like, thrown all over the place. Alberta and Stella also confirmed, sadly, hospitals here have security and paid parking only. And I've run into that a lot, which is why I don't, like, depend on hospitals. Orletta Caldwell makes a good point. Churches have liability like everybody else. And that's why I said, I treat them like a business. If I don't have permission to stay there, I'm not just going to go rolling up in there. And a lot of some churches do run safe parking programs. And again, it's one of those things where, like, honestly, mostly I've parked fine. So I haven't felt the need to use a safe parking program or apply for one. I also wouldn't like being packed in with other people. I'm going to be honest. I like sort of my independence. But unless they set up a program like that, they are business, and they do have to be cautious about, like, what they do and don't allow. And I completely understand that. You can sue a church just like you sue any other business, and it is a liability for them to just, have sort of a situation where their parking lot is being taken over. Vanquish says, I'd rather live in an ambulance than get driven in one. It's probably cheaper to buy an ambulance than have to use it in an emergency for what they charge for ambulances now. Vanquish says, truck stops take a bit to get used to. Yes, if you're not used to hearing traffic overnight, like, your first night at a truck stop will be a nightmare, because you're going to hear all kinds of sounds overnight. And until you get used to it, it can be freaky. And sometimes I'll even hear voices and think they're way closer to my truck than they are. And it's really just like somebody talking to their family because they stopped at the truck stop to, like, use the bathroom, and they just happen to be talking, like, outside of their car. And I'm like, why is somebody so close? And then when I look out the window, they're close to their own car. and the sound just carried. And that's besides the sounds of the trucks themselves, like, coming and going all night and running and stuff like that. I'm fairly used to it at this point, but there was a time where it was like sounds that I had to get used to. Alberta and Sella says, Dawn, you'll love Paula. She's good people. Well, I will be checking her out. Penn in Kentucky confirms I broke my shoulder and even I drove myself to the hospital. It's so sad, like, because we know what the ambulance costs. So it's like, you got a broken leg. I was like, I figure it out. We're going to drive me myself there. Ambulances are so expensive. Wow, more bang for your buck says the last trip my mother took via an ambos is $489. Ugh. Jose confirms, most of the time I went to the emergency room, I always drove. Yeah, it's not worth it to do anything else. Like, if you can drive, or you have a friend who can drive you, it's easier to give your friend gas money to drive you than to get an ambulance to take you anywhere. Zach Morris says, Walmart allows overnight parking. I'll tell you what, come to California, go to the Walmart in Hilltop, and they will kick you out. I guarantee you. Walmart as a company has a policy, but each private Walmart gets to decide what they're going to do. Depending on the Walmart, they may or may not own the parking lot, and they may or may not have say on what goes on in the parking lot. It really depends on who owns the lot and what history they have with people staying in the lot. Some Walmarts, especially those kind of in the middle of the country and those that frequently see RVers who come and stay overnight and leave, are very lenient or actually are entirely open and inviting about RVers, but Walmart allows overnight parking is not a universal rule. There were Walmarts that will kick you out. Like, I've been kicked out of like 2 or 3 Walmarts. I've slept in a bunch of Walmarts where I never got kicked out. But I've definitely been kicked out of 2 or 3, and one of them was the Walmart in Hilltop in California. And there's another Walmart here I wouldn't even try, because I know as soon as it got dark, they'd be walking around that parking lot seeing who's trying to sleep there and kick them out. So yeah, Walmart allowing overnight parking is not a universal rule. You're probably better off with Cracker Barrel than you are Walmart, and please do them the courtesy of actually buying food if you stay at a Cracker Barrel. So yeah. Those are not Lucy string lights. These are LED lights that I installed. They're permanently installed in the box truck. They can just be a steady light, but right now I have them chasing. And these are just cheap little lights from the dollar store that I added for Christmas. Along with, I keep forgetting that's not the phone that can see things. Let me switch phones. And this is my little tree from the dollar store. That's my lights. And those are permanently up there. Those are mounted. They're always there. And I can make them steady. I can make them chase. I can make them flash. Those are part of the box truck. These are not. These are just dollar store decorations. And that's my dollar store tree. Okay. I keep forgetting this isn't the phone that can see anything, because I'm just reading the chat on this phone. Yay! Alright, there we go. Sitting in my director's chair. No, it's just a big camping chair. Where was I? Where were we? Those were the Lucy string lights question. Glorious Life on Wheels says, hey, Dawn, I'm going to try to contact you in the next day or so. Someone contacted me you might want to talk to. Oh, okay, cool. Stop it. Okay, my phone was being stupid. That's who I was yelling at, my phone. Where were we? Julianne confirms, Zach Morris. I just realized that's the name from Saved by the Bell. Not all Walmarts allow overnight parking. You should always go in and ask the manager just to be sure. Yes, that is true. And also, I mean, honestly, if it's really late and you see a few, like, RVs, like, nicer RVs, I hate to be that person, but if you see a few, like, nicer, well-kept RVs that definitely look like travelers and not, people who are, you know, not travelers, more than likely, like, if you get to that Walmart really late and you just want to pull in over there where those are and leave in the morning, more than likely you'll be fine. If you are unsure in any way, the best policy is to go in and ask, and to be on the safe side, and that's any business. A lot of businesses who don't allow it, if you ask and you specifically say, hey, here it is, I'm on the road, I'm on my way to XYZ, I just need some place to stay overnight. Do you think it would be a big deal? You'd be surprised how many places say yes. Especially if you actually are just gone in the morning. But with Walmart specifically, just go in and ask. And you might be surprised. Dreams on Wheels says, we sleep like babies at truck stops. I do now too. But I know there's people who have more sensitive sleeping than me. And so I always like to be honest about, like, there is noise. Is it white noise for you? Ellie's Adventure says, if you get back east, you can mooch dock in my yard anytime. I'm 30 miles south of Atlanta. Thank you so much. Atlanta's one of those places I need to visit. I've never been there. Vanquished makes a good point, says a lot of overnight parking rules are dictated by public ordinances. And that is also true. Walmart can make whatever rule they want, but if the public ordinance doesn't allow it, they will kick you out of the lot, because going back to businesses, having to protect themselves as businesses, they're also following the state ordinance. So Vanquish says, don't get too mad at stores if they say no. Or if they ask you to leave. Like, don't get mad. You don't own the parking lot. You don't know why or what happened where they have to be like, I'm sorry, you can't park here overnight. And also with the security guards, because like 99% of the time it's security guards. Security guards are mostly not paid well employees. And they're just doing their job. And I never get mad at them for asking me to leave a parking lot. On the occasions when it happens, and it doesn't happen that much, I never get mad at them. They are doing their job. They're just a paid employee trying to make their dollars and go home, at the end of their shift. And so I never get mad at them. It's just what it is, and it's not a place I can stay. And that's part of the lifestyle. Where was I? The scroll got away from me. I'm seeing some more stuff about ambulances down there. Oh, here it is. Alberta and Stella says, I broke my arm slipping on ice going to my graveyard shift, and I drove myself. Came home, woke hubby to say I broke my arm, go back to sleep. Wow! To see what we go through to avoid the ambulance costs. Dream on Wheels says, only ambulance ride I ever took cost me some money because the scroll jumped, but it looked like a lot of money. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. There it is, Dream on Wheels. It cost you $1,500 because the hospital was 15 miles away and I was not able to drive. I was cut out of my car. That is insane. FDM215 says, my mother sent her ambulance bill to her doctor after the doctor insisted on sending her in an ambulance rather than a taxi. It was only 10 blocks and cost $700. Marty Malone says, my daughter passed out in a college class from not eating, and the ride from the University of Oregon to the hospital a couple of blocks away was $800 20 years ago. That's insane. Just to drive somebody? I mean, I know like the paramedics, have experience and all this other stuff, but the thing is, like, people will put themselves in dangerous situations now to avoid the ambulance bill. And what sucks is sometimes, like, your health insurance won't cover that. Like, it'll cover the doctor, but it won't cover the ambulance, which is crazy. Some people have really good coverage and it covers everything. For all you people not in the U.S., we struggle here with healthcare. And they wonder why we keep ourselves unhealthy, because it's like it costs too much to be healthy. It's a payment on a house just to go in the ambulance and go to the emergency room. Tina the Outsider said, I never got permission in Florida with the two different ones I stayed at. We're talking about Walmarts. And most of the Walmarts I stayed at, like, I read the room. Like, I didn't ask. But if you're never not sure, just ask. There are also apps. Like, I use iOverlander sometimes, and that'll tell you if somebody's, like, slept at that Walmart successfully or not. But just never take Walmart as a universal truth, because it is not. It is not a universal truth across the country. Cora Lee, what's up? Says, I'm so late I was doing maths with my kid. Janice Williams says, I was doing pickup at Walmart the other day and they had tons of security circulating around. It's not a big enough lot for overnighters. If I ever see a small lot, I don't sleep there. Because I'm like, this is not, like, the perfect lot for me to take a chance, and it's not always Walmart's, have to be huge and probably has some sort of cars there overnight, whether it's people who work overnight stocking. Like, again, it's learning to read the room. Like, usually if it's a place that's a large lot and there's likely to be some sort of vehicles there overnight, either overnight deliveries, places that have people stocking overnight, like, you can kind of tell. And so it's a matter of learning if I'm going to sleep not street side and in a parking lot. It's a matter of reading the room a lot of the times. Glorious Life on Wheels says, Walmart in Cottonwood, Arizona told me they stopped overnight parking after 2 RVers got in a fight. And that's the exact kind of crap that, like, ruins things. Dream on Wheels also loves Cracker Barrel boondocking. Vanquish says, I got kicked out of Walmart in Austin, Texas. Cops suggested I move to Lowe's down the street. Not a bad experience. I could get away with Lowe's because I'm a box truck. Ellie's Adventure says, Walmart used to have all their stores in the big Rand McNally Road Atlas, but many people are teaching the lots and taking advantage. I don't quite understand that sentence. Have you ever stayed at the Lowe's? And that's exactly what happened, is everybody started telling everybody to park at bloody Walmart. And there were areas where that turned really bad for that local Walmart, and that's what kind of spoiled it for a lot of people. I've not stayed overnight at the Lowe's, but I think that's just been a matter of convenience, that it just hasn't been an accessible thing at a time where I was looking for overnight parking. Here's my thing. I don't go out of my way. It's like, I want to be here in the morning for this reason. Like, that's sort of my logic. Or I'm in this area and I kind of want to stay in this area for a little bit. Then I use that area to find things that work in that area, as opposed to, like, going way out of my way. Like, I stay at truck stops a lot when I'm traveling. If a truck stop's really far away, I'm not going to kill myself to get to a truck stop when there may be some other option that's just parking street side or a lot where they're probably going to look the other way all night. That's how it's been, and Lowe's just hasn't happened. All the Lowe's that I've been near were pretty bougie. And they were bougie enough where I was like, nah. So that's what's happened with Lowe's so far. Boop, boop, boop. Earl Blackman says, Dawn, have you thought of sleeping at movie theater parking lot? Right now, heck no. COVID changed movie theaters. But I'll tell you a story. It's story time with Dawn. So one time I was working event gig. This was a couple of years ago, and I was in my minivan at the time. And I left, and I was honestly just tired. It was a really, really long night, and I just wanted to find somewhere to park and sleep. And there was this big lot full of cars, like 2 blocks from the job. And I said, whatever, I'm just going to pull in here. And so I pull into this lot, and it turned out to be a movie theater. And this was pre-COVID. So it was just full of people breathing on each other. And I went to sleep, not intending to stay there all night. And then I woke up and I heard like that blower that they use to blow leaves, and a lot of times parking lots hire guys to come do this. And so I woke up and look out the front door of the minivan. Lot is empty, like totally empty except for me. So the thing about movie theaters is they do close at a certain point. Now, luckily they were like whatever, and they just left my minivan there all night. Maybe they thought somebody had just left their minivan overnight, or they knew I was in there. I have no idea. But I woke up to a completely empty lot with only me in it, and I had pulled into a full lot full of cars at a movie theater. It's nothing I specifically sought out, but it's happened once. um, Zach Morris says, Zach Morris is your birth name. I'm also as old as the people on that show. That's awesome that's your real name. Well, Zach on the show Saved by the Bell, I think he was Z-A-C-K, not Z-A-C-H. Um, do, 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 do. Alberta and Stella tells me if I ever head to Vancouver, they've got a good sized driveway. All right. Canada, I would come one day. I thought I would get there now, but things just didn't work out and I had to change my plans. Luminia, I'm sorry. I just saw your Merry Christmas Dawn and your $5 super chat. Let's see here. Sean, thank you for the $20 super cat chat. Says Universal Healthcare in New Zealand. Spend 4 weeks in intensive care. No charge, correct? No charge. God dang it. We jealous. You hear us here in the States. We're afraid to even call an ambulance to get to the emergency room. Because they're going to charge us $1,500 before we even have a bill, man. Whew, Sean. Thank you for the super chat. Daphne Lansborough, thank you for the $20 super chat and the adorable thanks for being you sticker. Britt F says, we have some real gnarly state rest stops. Some are clean and safe, others aren't. That is pretty much true across the board. Like, I've stayed at some rest areas that were better than some campgrounds I've stayed at. And I've stayed in some rest areas where I was like, I'm not sure about this, but they were fine. They just were not the cleanest, nicest places to catch some Z's. I mean, I'm reading, guys. That's why I got quiet. And it's usually the point where I'm like, how long have I been? Oh, I've been on over an hour. You know, I usually try to keep these things to an hour. We got talking about ambulances. You know what didn't come up in this live chat? Star Trek. Even though I still love Star Trek. I just had to say the word Star Trek. I'm surprised none of this chat has been about that. Janice Williams says, do they harass people at mall parking lots? It depends on the mall. Like, it's like Walmart. It's like any sort of, anytime you're trying to, like, get away with, like, something in a parking lot, and I will say get away with, It varies. It varies depending on the state. That's why I like to say there are no universal rules. There are good suggestions depending on the type of vehicle you're in. When I was in the minivan, I will say I did street side parking like most of the time because I was really small. So I just found a place I could legally park. It wasn't about being able to legally sleep, because in an ideal situation, nobody sees me as a person sleeping in their car. They just see a parked car and I go to sleep. So when I was in the minivan, like, I avoided parking lots as much as possible beyond the times that it was absolutely necessary. Or I just didn't have any ideas except for like trying the local Walmart. Like, that's when I really used parking lots. But it was really easy for me to just park on the street anywhere there was legal street parking for cars and then just go to bed. With the Chevy van, it got a little bit more tricky just because it was a bigger van. But again, I spent a lot of time parking street side. I've spent less time parking street side with the box truck, just because street side parking with the box truck, unless I'm in a commercial area or very specific areas, it's a little bit harder. So honestly, I've been like playing a little more parking lot roulette with the box truck than I did with the other two vehicles I had. So yeah. And the thing about street side parking is free street parking, assuming you're parking somewhere that's not going to annoy someone, like right in front of somebody's house. Street side parking is legal as long as as long as you're not breaking any parking signs or width and height restrictions. Like, whereas as a parking lot, it is private property. It is always private property. It's just, are they going to look the other way or not? Oops. I'm hitting buttons I don't want to hit. So I answered the question about the mall. Jose, I mentioned earlier in the chat that I've parked a lot at Home Depot. Whoa! I'm losing. The chat did a little jumpy jump on me. Bye, Julie. I'm probably going to be wrapping this up soon. Tina, a little adult language is okay. We're all grown-ups here. This is marked as not for kids. We just want to avoid people being, as long as people aren't insulting, they can make little funny jokey jokes. It's cool. Colorado Chinchilla says, I used to sleep in the gym parking lot after I would work out and take my shower. Convenient for getting ready for work in the morning. I absolutely agree. I definitely did the Planet Fitness thing a few times. And I know people who exclusively, like, they did overnight in Planet Fitness because they could go to Planet Fitness in the evening, work out, take a shower, maybe use some Wi-Fi, then go back to their vehicle and go to sleep. But I'm one of those people that don't like to use anything all the time. I always like to change it up. I think life is more peaceful that way. And I don't ever want to be anywhere frequent enough that somebody notices that I'm frequent. And that happened to me recently, and that's because I broke my own rule, but I got lazy. And maybe because I had been traveling through, from Colorado up to Oregon, everything happened in Oregon. I came back to California, and I was just ready to slow down a little bit. Broke my own rule and got in trouble. which was never be anywhere repeatedly too often. So I used to do the gym thing too, but I never did it like multiple days in a row. Like back when I had a gym membership, I canceled it during COVID because they took away the showers, and I didn't want to gamble on having or not having showers. Um, Vanquish makes a good point, says, I like the gym idea, but I'm not in towns enough to make it worth the cost. Exactly. Like, that's another thing. Like, if, like, people talk about the gym memberships for showers, which is great, depending on how frequently you're even near that gym. Now, if you're not going that far from like a certain location, it works out great. Or let's say you have a day job and you just travel during your vacations or your day off and you just happen to live in a van. Like if you're in some kind of situation like that, you can get a lot of bang for your buck out of a gym membership. But if you boondock a lot, if you're only in town to really stock up supplies and then you go out a lot, like the gym membership can start like costing more than it's worth, and you'd be better off just taking pay-per-use showers when you run across them. So the gym is a good tip, and it works for some, doesn't work for others. Everything applies to your situation as it works. Penn in Kentucky. Yay, asking a Star Trek question. I was just going to ask where you were up to on whispering Star Trek. What's the their chat thing that had whisper mode? I am almost through Deep Space Nine. I still haven't seen any of the movies. And I think I'm going to watch the first Star Trek movie this weekend. The first one, Star Trek the Motion Picture. Like, I haven't seen any of them. So I'm going to start watching them. Life of Anthony, what's up? In the live chat says, hey Dawn, I can't believe I caught one of your live chats. I'm happy to have you here. Princess Pamela, what's up? Unfortunately, I'm going to be wrapping this chat up soon because I just realized how long I've been in the live. Yeah, it's like 86 minutes, so it's been almost an hour and a half at this point. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you to everyone for popping in. I can't believe I only said one thing about Star Trek in this live chat because, you know, I just got obsessed. I did buy me a new Star Trek shirt. It's a blue one. It's the blue Spock shirt from the original series. So it's just a blue shirt with the insignia on it and like the black collar. So I'm excited. That's going to be here on Friday. It's my Christmas gift to myself. And we're going to say bye-bye to Mickey. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy whatever you celebrate, happy winter solstice. Right here's the kitty cat. Mickey, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Mickey. He's like, I don't know what you're doing. It's nighttime. I'm going to bed. Mickey, say goodbye. Mickey, he's literally covering up his face. You gonna say goodbye to everybody? Huh? He's like, no, I don't want to talk to the magic box. All right. Night, night, everybody. Have a good holiday.